What is good, ladies and gentlemen? What is good? It's your boy Cheats here, and this is the Black Baseball Mixtape. You are listening to, that's right, the World Series preview extravaganza. Clap it up. We've got the entire crew here, and we have some special guests that'll be joining us throughout today's podcast. We're going to talk about the Dodgers. We're going to talk about the Blue Jays. We're going to talk what it took for these two teams to get to the ultimate uh, pinnacle, if you will, of baseball, the World Series. We're also going to talk about the Dodgers having a chance to actually make a little bit of history, if you will. They'll be, if they win, they'll be back-to-back champions. And in this day and age, that doesn't happen that much. So we're excited about that. We're going to talk about what went wrong for the teams that did not make it to the World Series. That's right, the Brewers in the National League Championship Series and the Mariners, everybody's favorite, and the American League Championship. So we've got a lot to talk about. We got people weighing in on Instagram. We've got people weighing in on YouTube. Before I introduce our crew who is with us and has been with us the entire season, this is a really exciting time for the Black Baseball Mixtape podcast. I got to thank our partners, the Players Alliance, Numbers Game Scorecards, Minority Prospects. We got a lot going on with our partners. Shout out to Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds as well. I think they're completely under reconstruction. I did talk to our guy Ryan over there at Rebellion Harvest, and they are in a rebrand phase. So you'll definitely have to check that out as well. But I want to thank all of our partners, and I always want to ask you guys, and thank you for listening, and want to ask you to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave a review if you can. With no further ado, I'm joined as always by the one and only Flebo Boyce.
My
What
man
is
cheats.
what is going on, my brother? How are you
Nah.
feeling, Flebo?
Oh man, like the old folks say, I can't call it player, man. It's the best time of the year for baseball fans. New in the booth this week, as you can tell, I'm wearing my Lynchburg Hillcats cap because I sat down with the owner of the team, Dylan Durang. So I'm feeling good, man. It's the best time of the year to be a baseball fan.
It is a really, really amazing time to be a baseball fan. We've got a lot to get into, Flebo. I'm excited about all the in the booths. I've listened to the last two. I think they're fantastic. So everybody make sure you check those out as well. But we got a lot to get into. We're going to do it. Joining us as always, Butterman Kane himself, Malik. Welcome to the program. How are you feeling, my brother?
It's feeling like it's going to be a blue October. We got two teams. They're all dressed in blue. They're going to be going coast to coast, which is going to be pretty interesting to see. I'm not going to lie. This is it's really hard to come up with some like narratives for how this World Series is going to go. I'm just interested in seeing if it's going to be more exciting than the one that we had last year. We had a lot of storylines going on about the Yankees and what they did wrong and what the Dodgers did right. So I'm really interested to see what the stories that are going to come out from this year's World Series.
I mean, look, last year's World Series is Dodgers Yankees. You can't beat the history. You can't beat the storylines,
No.
right? I mean, that's MLB. A lot of fans' dreams. That's chef kiss, right? The games, like you said, weren't that great in the sense of they weren't really well played, and obviously a lot of errors cost the Yankees more than they would care to remember. However, this year, if you're looking at how the two teams are playing, when we talk about the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, maybe not last year's storylines, but I am expecting a lot better baseball. And with that said, I'm going to turn to our resident Dodger homie, Homer, if you will. All about April. You've been riding with him all year. You've been riding with him before that, but you've been riding with him all year. Congratulations to you. Your Los
Thank
Angeles
you.
Dodgers
Nah.
have fulfilled the prophecy. They are in the World Series.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
It feels great to be a winner and to be on my way to greatness again. So I'm just embracing this moment and the excitement that comes along with it.
Well, look, again, you have been there. You've been there before this season, but you've definitely been there all season this year. You've been living and dying with the team. They
Yeah.
seem to be getting like they got healthy at the right time. They
Mhm.
seem to figure out their pitching, which is a huge, huge thing.
Mhm.
Their pitching just completely demolished the Brewers, and so we'll
Mhm.
start there. We'll start with the National League Championship Series, and then we'll jump into a little bit of a. We'll jump into the championship series, just do a postmortem. Then we'll jump into our World Series previews, and then we'll
Mhm.
bring on some guests as well.
Mhm.
The overall theme for the Dodgers, I think, more so than anything else, is health and starting pitching. Blake
Mhm.
Snell, Yamamoto, Tyler Glass now. These guys have been absolutely phenomenal. Obviously, you figure out, I mean, they use Sheehan and the other Blake and Roki Sasaki to perfection as well. But it
Mhm.
seems like with their health, it just doesn't matter how many like runs they score. They don't have to score a ton of runs. The Brewers got what 3 runs in like the first 3 games. It's just been the Brewers were embarrassed by the Dodgers pitching. Um, April, what did you
Mhm.
make of the display of your arms? Because that was to me the story of the NLCS.
I was extremely pleased with our starting pitching because, they didn't play very much the first half of the season. But to watch Blake Snell, especially someone who a lot of people were like, I don't think I want Snell because he doesn't go very far in games, for him to go far multiple times this postseason. And then for Yamamoto to follow that up as well. And then Glass now to have excellent pitching, and then for the bullpen to come in, it was really, really amazing to see. And also shout out and prayers up to Alex Vesia and his family, because he's not with the team right now due to what's going on. I remember telling y'all his wife was pretty much due any day now. But I believe that kind of set the tone for the Dodgers. Like they were able to perform at such a high level, and then it just ended up working out. Also, listening to Pat Murphy talk about how the Cubs series really took a lot of energy out of them, as well.
Really,
So I guess emotionally,
I
I heard
murmured
it.
on that.
I heard it. I heard it, but I was like, emotion. I mean, they had a bye, so again, and that goes back to Flobo, the conversation we had last week with the Phillies. Do buys really help? Do they work? Do they not work? Or was this just the better team at the right time?
First of all, I don't buy the buy thing. So I respect the hell out of Pat Murphy. I actually respect him more going through this playoff series. I think he's a phenomenal manager. Probably should be National League Manager of the Year. But they just didn't hit. Again, well, like 4 runs and 4 games. They just didn't hit. And I don't buy the whole, like you said, strenuous and strained, because they weren't coming off of they had some rest. They're coming off the Chicago series, which no one said anything about, you know, wear and tear or anything like that. And
Right.
I think they just got shut down by better pitching, and the pitching was amazing. And we talked about Snell, Yamamoto, and
Glass now.
Glasnow. Who we didn't talk about was the guy that could have turned in, like, literally. And I'm not, obviously none of us are exaggerating or being prisoners of the moment when we say Shohei Ohtani had single handedly, I would say, probably the best playoff game in the history of baseball, because he pitched 6 shutout innings with 10 strikeouts in the NLCS and hit 3 solo home runs.
With one going out of the park.
Lobo, I see your face. Do you
Yeah.
like? Do you disagree? Now and again, I'm not talking about the whole series, because let's
Yeah,
be
yeah.
honest, Shohei wasn't hitting that well prior to this
It's
game.
not.
However, do you think the Shohei Ohtani performance is indeed one of the best? I mean, it's got to be one of. Do you think it's the best of all time?
So first of all, that whole series was a travesty of baseball, man. And
I agree. I agree.
okay, for those of you in the audio version, Cheetah talking about Shohei, and I was laughing because the performance that Shohei did was unreal. And this is what you want to put on display if you want to. If you haven't had your casual friends seen a baseball game before, you sit them down. This guy's the guy you want to help out. Shohei did everything he could, but when he was gifted the NLCS MVP, I was like, "What are we doing? You can't show up to work 25% of the days and still have a job. Are you kidding me?" I was like, "All right, whatever." But again, not to take that away, you don't get to do what Shohei does on the regular without practice, without skill, without talent. I'll give him all the flowers for that game for performance, man. But to me, it came a bit too late. I was in the Black Baseball Mixtape Discord being like, guys, I just want this to be over. This isn't fun baseball. This is entertaining baseball. This is just formulaic baseball.
I mean, look, the performance was absolutely unreal. Malik, I'm going to go to you. Obviously, you can talk about the whole series. Let's do both. You can talk about the whole series
Okay.
and your thoughts on it, but you can also talk about that Shohei performance. Because I don't know, again, outside of being like, I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment either. So I don't want to be like,
Yeah.
this is the greatest thing in the history of baseball ever in the postseason. But I'm leaning more that way than not.
I don't know. I feel like it has to be one of the, like, objectively, statistically has to be, because
Yeah.
who's gonna pitch and hit, at the same time?
Six shutout innings, 10 strikeouts, 3
Yeah,
home runs.
literally having the
That's
best
little
outcomes that
league.
you
That's
can have.
little league. That's the best player on your little league numbers, and he did it in the National League Championship Series
The
against
only
the
thing I
number
could
one
say,
seed in baseball.
and the only thing I can say that other performances that can, like, I can't really name them off the top of my head at this moment because I haven't really looked them up. But the only thing I can say about that moment that can be trumped by other moments in playoff history is the stakes of that moment. Of course, it sent them to the World Series, but at that moment, the Brewers were down 0-3.
Yeah.
They were going to, it was like the nail in the coffin, which for me, if it were like a game 7, the stakes would probably be even more higher. And
If that's game 7, it's no
yeah,
debate. If
there's
that's
no
game
debate.
7 of the World Series, there's no debate. And
Yeah,
that's and I don't want to jump ahead. I want to make sure we put a button on this. But that takes us to the conversation, takes me to the conversation, Flobo, that I had with a ton of folks after Game 7 George Springer home run, because they're like, this is the greatest postseason home run of all time. And everybody's like, no, Joe Carter says hold my beer, because Joe Carter did in the World Series. So it's like the series matter, right? Like, no, the series matter. And I love George Springer and I love the home run. It's not bigger than Joe Carter's home run. It's not.
No.
So the idea, though, that Shohei can do this in any game, in any postseason, is absolutely amazing. But Malik, I understand what you're saying, because there were very low stakes in this game. By this time, the Dodgers were up, 2-0? This was game
yeah.
3 of the series.
Yeah, and I think just to kind of give like put a button on the series from my perspective, it looked like the Brewers were not able to diversify their offense in the same way that they did during the regular season. It's like the pitching just suppressed everything. The small ball didn't work. Even some of the methodology in which they were going up there with their at bats didn't work. And I think that a lot of times in the playoffs, which we've probably seen with other teams, is that some players try to play a little bit above their station. I saw some Bryce Terang at bats that were very frustrating, where he almost got hit by a pitch. So he moves out of the way to pretty much drive in a run. And then the next pitch is literally at his eyes and he swings as hard as he can. And so I felt like there was a lot of players that, I mean, some of them are kind of, getting their playoff at bats off. I can see that. Bryce Terang has been here before, but not this far. But I could see that some of those players were just shell shocked by how healthy these pitchers were. We seen a Blake Snell that was deciding to just throw strikes. He wasn't, playing around the zone with these guys. And so I think they were just kind of shocked by how dominant the Dodgers came into this series, and very healthy, very hungry as well.
Flobo, I think we will all agree that this was a big win. Like, if we're looking at winners and losers, it was a big win for the Dodgers pitching staff. If we're looking at losers, I have to think this is a big loss for the Brewers training staff, because how in the world can we not keep Jackson Chirios from is it cramping? I was told it was cramping.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard to say that because it's like end of the season, everyone's kind of tired. But you're right. They had the bye. They had a chance to make everything out, make sure everyone's stretched out. I feel like there are a lot of L's that the Brewers can take, whether it is their energy management, whether it is their training staff, whether it is the fact that they didn't really have a plan C or D when the Dodgers neutralized what they were doing. So I guess resources there. So that maybe be a staff issue. But at the end of the day, man, like it'd be one thing if you were losing games 11-10 or 9-7. They weren't even in the conversation. And it sucks too because the Brewers, up until this point, were the best record in baseball. So I'm nudging
Mm-hmm.
casual fans over, like, oh man, this is gonna be a great matchup. And game 2.5, I go, yeah, man, LA, just wrap this up, bro. We got
But
things
here's
to
the deal.
do.
And they swept us in the season, so that's also a factor too.
Absolutely.
But here's the deal. In April, I'll ask you this one because I know you were following the whole time, and you'd made several mentions on the podcast before the series started that the Brewers had completely gone undefeated against the Dodgers in the regular season. I think it was like 6-0. And so
Mm-hmm.
here's my question, and especially for people that we would say are casual fans. I believe if casual fans are looking at that in NLCS even before it starts, and you say we got the Dodgers and we got the Brewers, most casual fans would have thought the Dodgers were the number one seed and the Brewers were the team that was playing in the divisional series. You know what I mean? Before,
Mm-hmm.
um, so when I say that, I guess my question to you would be: the Brewers, I'm sure they feel bad that they lost. I'm sure they're disappointed in the way that they played. But are we really? Do you think deep down inside the Brewers are really like oh, we should be in the World Series right now, or do they think like we ran into a team that was healthy and probably better than us? Like, because I really, again, in my heart of hearts, I couldn't pick the Brewers going to the World Series, especially if they're playing a healthy Dodgers team or a couple other healthy teams in my mind.
There are a lot of people who literally thought the Brewers were going to the World
You think?
Series. And yes, yes, I know
I didn't.
people.
I
I've
picked the
seen the
Phillies. What do I
bracket,
I
know?
did. I put it on the little sheet
and
we put.
I
I
picked the
know
Phillies.
quite a few people who felt that way. But I also think that you have to consider, if I beat you 6 times this season, I already feel like I have a hand up on you going
Yeah,
into this series. And even if they lose the series, you get at least one win.
no,
They didn't get any
but let me
wins.
clarify something because you're right. They beat them 6 times. They did in the regular season.
Right.
It was also pointed out often in the commentary, which they did a fantastic job. Well, Flobo, I know you and I have talked about this, but all of the commentary folks for the postseason were really, really good.
Yep.
Um,
Hmm.
they also pointed out several times, April, that the Brewers
We
never
weren't.
faced any of those
Yes,
pitchers, including Yamamoto, in those
I
six
agree.
games. So they didn't face
I was going
they
to say
didn't
we weren't at full capacity.
right, they didn't face Snell at all. They didn't face Yamamoto at all. They didn't face Shohei. They didn't face Glasnow. They didn't face any of them. So it's like, did they really beat? They didn't beat the Dodgers that they saw. They were beating up on I don't know who. I don't even know who was pitching then. Other than my mind, I'm like Bobby Miller, but he probably wasn't.
Now, Bobby Miller
Yeah,
wasn't in the starting
like
rotation
but who were they
this
beating up on? Because
season.
they weren't beating up on those guys.
Maybe Kershaw one game,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah. I don't know, but
a couple of other
but so
people.
so it was like a brand new series for them because they didn't
Could
face
have been a
any of those guys.
Yeah, and I totally get that, but I believe that the Brewers, the kind of team that the Brewers are, that they believe from the way that they've set themselves up that they can compete with other teams. Now, does that mean that they can go to a World Series? I don't know, but I don't think that this team expected to go into this series and be swept
Right? No, I don't.
the way that they
I'm
completely dominated.
I'm
So
completely
whenever you
agree.
ask, do I think that deep down inside they felt, I watched like Christian Yelich's interview, which I'm a huge fan of Yelich. And I watched a couple of other people's interview, and I really believe that they felt like they had some semblance of a chance. But when you have players who are literally healthy and playing at the level that they are playing, because we also have to remember this is past the level that we have seen from even Yamamoto, from Snell, from Glass now. Like, we haven't even seen this play from them in the postseason either.
Right.
So for them to bring that level up at this time, it just wasn't the Brewers' moment to compete against that Dodgers starting pitching staff or that team. Period.
No, I agree with you 100% on the fact that I think everybody in that locker room, including Pat Murphy, thought they were going to be competitive and go to the World Series. I just didn't think that. Like I didn't think
Right.
that.
So
You did it.
I just actually looked this up about the pitchers that they beat during the regular season. So Kershaw twice,
Let's see.
Kershaw twice, Glasnow twice. Yoshinobu Yamamoto opened and did 2/3 of an inning. And then there was one bullpen game featuring Emmett Sheehan, Jack Dreyer, Ben Kasparius, and Anthony Banda. So
There you go. And
Yeah.
when they put when Kershaw got in the game in the postseason, that wasn't in the Brewers series, but the Phillies scored 8 runs in like 1 inning or something. So
Mhm.
good luck. Hey, so we're about to switch gears and we're about to bring on our
Can I
first.
say something too?
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Can I say something too
Yeah,
really
yeah,
quickly? I do want to mention that I thought it was very impressive that this year the ALCS showed out, or the American League period showed out a bit more than the National League in the postseason.
The American League what showed out?
Showed out like as a whole.
Oh yeah,
Agreed.
So
yeah.
I'm talking
No,
about
we're
the
about
series.
to switch gears and talk about that series right now because we're about to bring on our first guest that's going to drop in and talk about it. Now I know he comes on with a very heavy heart. He comes on with a very heavy heart. He's not. I'm sure he is. He's doing the best he can to maintain, but he is our resident Seattle Mariners insider, the one and only Don Dishes. Welcome to the program, my boy.
Welcome to the Cancun couch. The Cancun couch.
You are.
Hey,
you
no
are
doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Cheers.
You are.
That's
He's
wild.
already drinking.
Wow.
There he is. Don, now we just put a bow in the NLCS, and the Dodgers, but we wanted to switch over because as Flobo alluded to, and April alluded to as well, the American League Championship Series was by far the most exciting series there was. It was just much. I think it was just better baseball played than on the National League side. Obviously, I don't have to recap and bring you down. However, it went all 7 games. It
No
gets
doubt.
back to the Rogers Center, and George Springer in the 7th. Toronto wins the game. I want to back it up there, Don. I want to back it up because there's 2 things I want to start with.
Okay.
Speaking of people being tired, right? April, like they were talking about the Brewers possibly getting tired. Seattle really had to run the gauntlet, right? The Detroit series, they're playing 15-inning games, like something insane. And then they get over to Toronto, and unbeknownst to me, I told Flobo, if I was a betting man, which I do poorly, maybe not today. Shout out to the NBA.
Crazy.
No. I would have put all my money that the Mariners would have dropped either game 1 or 2. Definitely game 2 after they won.
Right.
I was like, game 1 would have the adrenaline alone from game 1 maybe carries them over. But game 2, I'm thinking they're absolutely shot. The Mariners not only win game 1, but they win game 2, both in Toronto, and then go back to Seattle. Don, this is what I want to ask you first.
Yeah.
How exciting was the situation after like game 1 and game 2? Because again, you're riding the high of getting there from the Tigers, and then you have to turn right around and play in Toronto. And the feeling, like, where were you emotionally when you start getting some wins?
Man, I mean, yeah, hats off to the season, right? I'm gonna say that real quick.
Right.
But yeah, we had that momentum. All the headlines. Oh, we stole those games in Toronto. I mean, I think we earned them, but it definitely was something different. We didn't expect that. No one was expecting to take both in Toronto, going somewhere where people don't normally pop up and rain during the regular season. So, I mean, I think that was obvious. We're like, okay, we got these 2 though, but we're like, that was a strong stance for everyone in the city. We're gonna go home. We're nice at home, right? We started off the season. We're nice at home. We're terrible away. And for some reason, we go to Toronto and smack away. So we're going home, and we're like, oh, we can do this. That's why the energy was so crazy and the bandwagon overloaded and was bubbling full. Like it was just we expected a lot. Um, and it was tough, man. It was tough to see us go back home and not be able to finish off there. That's where I wanted us to land. That's where we had it at. Once we saw it going the other way, I think everybody understood that it was already a fight. So you really had to play perfect ball to escape the ball that the Jets play. Like this, just props. Those boys know how to score in bunches, and that's what we don't do. They know how to rally and move everyone around to clear the bases. That's what we did not do. So yeah, the momentum felt great, bro. We felt amazing. Everybody was trying to pull up to the stadium because we thought we were gonna get it at home. But yeah, just couldn't do it.
So again, the interesting thing about this, and I want to back up too, but I'll move forward ahead just because I don't think people really understood. You would, as a not just a Mariners fan, but a Mariners fan that literally follows 162 games. Like
No
you
doubt.
are in it.
Yeah.
When you're trying to do what the Mariners are trying to do this year, which is reach a height that they have never reached before and go into the World Series. What was the environment like just around the town? I've been to T-Mobile. I've been in Seattle last year at the All-Star game.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine what the environment was like on a day-to-day basis when you guys are like making this run.
Yeah, I mean it was pretty bonkers, you know what I'm saying? And especially to be, I got to catch the ALDS. I got to catch the game too for Scooble, which everybody was like, "Oh, you guys are smoked. You're smoked. You're smoked." And then we got that one, which was intense, right? Like there was bands in the street, you know what I'm saying? People were wilding out, climbing posts. It looked like Philly when they get, the real thing, So it's like we were really engaged. And I think some people fell asleep to the analysis of what had to come after that. You know what I'm saying? But the energy was just sky high. You can't beat that energy, and I think no one would argue that. Seattle's got that energy. When they want to show up, they're there.
So I'll let everybody get your questions ready for Don because I'm gonna let him take it a little bit from here, and then you guys will take some hit him up with some questions as well. But here's what I think. If I put the Blue Jays roster and the Mariners roster side by side, and if I put the Blue Jays lineup and put the Mariners lineup side by side, and I put the Blue Jays pitching staff and the Mariners pitching staff side by side, I'm giving the edge to Seattle on most, if not all, of those categories. We talked about this. I loved the Mariners lineup, especially after the trade deadline. You get Naylor, you get Suarez. I mean, they're leading off Randy. Now, again, wasn't Randy. Like playoff Randy and all these guys didn't show up, except
Right.
they moved J-Rod into the leadoff spot in that last game. But it's like I love the fact that Robles came back. Right, Robles is in right field. There's just, and I mean, obviously Polanco, Rivas. You got stuff from everyone. When you looked at the lineup side by side, and then you start to see it play out, where did you think it went wrong?
Man, where it went wrong. I think it went wrong that Dan loves to shake up that order, which is great. I think, but after a while, you shake the dice and when you're hitting 7 and 11, so you probably should hold a little bit. But I'm not a coach. That's just where I think maybe it went wrong with that lineup. I like that we shook it though.
We're all coaches, Don. We're all coaches.
Yeah, no doubt. I like that he shook it though. I just maybe we were shaking up a little too often, a little too much. And then sometimes, I love seeing Robles come back too, but then you see that Robles got like one at bat or two, and then he subbed him. I was like, man, maybe he's locked in now. Maybe he's seeing the ball better. Canzone, he's cool, but I wanted to see Robles, up to bat another time. I just wanted to see that battle. So, maybe a little too many shakes of the dice with that lineup, but it got to a place where we loved it. I liked seeing, JP, the captain, bat lower down there, and we're moving people around. I like seeing, I like seeing J-Rod lower in the order. I don't like seeing him first.
Like him at the top.
I don't never have, but yeah.
So, again, this is the Black Baseball Mixtape. I am partial to minority players. I
No
am.
doubt. No
Clearly.
doubt. No doubt.
And obviously looking at Seattle's lineup and what they had on display in terms of diversity, obviously also made me excited. With that said, I don't think I've yelled at a player more in a 7-game series than I did JP Crawford. And it was because, I mean, again, Flibbo knows this because we not only are we on all these platforms, but we're tweeting during the game.
Right.
And I'm thinking like several games in the playoffs, I was like, if they lose this game, it's on JP's inability to get down a bunt. Like things like moving the runners over. I think he made up for it. Was it the 15-inning game where he made up for it? Because he in the
I'd say
15-inning
so.
game against the Tigers, he missed like 2 opportunities to move the runners over and end the game if he could just get a bunt down. Now and again, I love JP Crawford. I think he had a pretty good season. Really a bounce back in many ways. Athletic plays in most of all the games, are solid shortstop. So I really do like him.
Right.
But how frustrating is it for you when you just see little things where it's like, God, move the runner over. If we move the runner over, we put ourselves in a better position.
I mean, you're 100% right. I mean, we have to move the runners over, and we failed to do that. And I hated that. I hated failing to move the runners over. But I would say this. We see JP having to lay the bunt down, but I want to see other players lay the bunt down. Like I wanted to see Rivas put up a bunt in that last game.
There's a couple. There's a couple opportunities.
Like, come
especially
on,
in the bottom half of the lineup.
Yeah, and JP, he's usually the guy putting a bunt down and trying to move guys over. He's the captain. He's sacrificing his at bat like that. I just love to see more people play smaller ball. Our whole team, our whole aesthetic needed to be a smaller ball. And I remember Alex Rodriguez saying, the Blue Jays play that small ball, and it's not old ball. It's just ball that gets a win. And you have to move the runners around, period. We need to do that more often. So, yeah, frustrating to see JP blow those bunts, of course. But I would have came back and had somebody else bunting too.
Yeah, I don't want to blame. I watched him.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Not just him, but there was just glowing examples. All right, crew, done dishes. You got him for a couple more minutes. What do we got?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So I was absolutely fascinated by the fact that Seattle continued to pitch to Vlad and pitched to him as he was batting over 400, definitely over 350.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, do you think that was the right decision in allowing him to continue to go up to the plate and having a normal at bat, or would you be like other people and decide to not allow him to beat you at the plate?
For sure. No, that's a solid question. I think you're always wondering where you're going to go with somebody like Vlad in a tough spot. I think going at him is great if you've got a player who's ready to attack and you've got a strong, pitcher up there, and we have a lot of those pitchers. So I think depending on who it is, yeah, go at Vlad. Why not? Why not try to play champion ball and defeat a champion player? Make them beat you by making a play. That's what I always say personally. I'm not really into not pitching to a guy. So that's who I am. I'd love to make sure we had guys on there like, that guy's up, you're in, you're getting the out. So that's where I'm at. So I'll live and die by the choice,
That's real.
Hey,
that's real. I have a question.
What else we got for Don?
Now I know we were talking about some of these series that Seattle has played, and they went their furthest, and that's in the past for me, and I know that's in the past for you too. That's in the way past. But looking towards the future, you mentioned JP Crawford being that captain of this team. Is looking like he has about one more year on his contract. And you know how the Mariners have about this buku number of middle infield prospects that they're coming up through their pipeline. Do you think that what JP Crawford has done for Seattle is enough for them to kind of keep him there, playing shortstop for them or playing a position for them long term? Or do you think they move on from, JP after next year and maybe at the trade deadline?
For sure. No, I mean, I believe he's played the caliber of ball to be the captain of the team and to be where he needs to be. If we are to see any prospects come up, I don't see an immediate replacement. I mean, I think they should shepherd him, groom him through. And we have guys, I want to see Bliss back. I want to see, what I'm saying, I want to see other cats back that definitely deserve to come through the ranks and get up there before we see some type of replacement for the captain. Now, could it happen? Yes, because the back room, the suits of Seattle, it's not the best. And I'm the first one to say that, even though I love the team to death. But no, the boys played tremendous ball. He's definitely high caliber. He's the spirit guy of the team. So, I mean, you take away the nucleus, everything kind of breaks down. So we can't lose.
I feel
So,
bad. I
and
feel like you're the
Crawford is
GM.
signed
You know,
through
I'm asking you all these questions.
Yeah, Crawford
Can
is
see,
you
signed through
explain, brother, what
Crawford is
happened to
signed through
Seattle?
2027.
It's love, bro.
explain.
He
Can,
said Crawford isn't
can,
until
can you?
2027.
So Crawford is signed through 2027. So if they do
Word, word.
anything, it'll be sometime probably next season if they're thinking, if it's not going well, which with the team they have, I can't imagine them kind of moving off of that. Now and again,
Right.
there's a couple of players like you mentioned, Bliss. I think there's a big question mark on what you do with a Harry Ford type player because I mean I don't think anyone can expect Cal Riley to have the season that he had this year again, but Ford is a guy that catches and I mean they're gonna have to figure out what to do with that young
That's a
guy
fact.
there.
That's a fact.
Um, but they've got some talent. They obviously the one guy I wanted to see more is Brian Wu, and I know that he
Yeah.
was dealing with the injury,
Mm.
but Wu was the guy that I really like when he came in. Even he came in relief, he looked like he had that dog in him still. Like I wanted to see him really get an
Yeah,
opportunity to rock.
man. I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't want to see Wu against Springer again
Yeah,
right then.
Yeah.
He had
yeah,
struck him out the last time he seen him and really made him look
Mm.
kind of foolish when he did it.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's that called a debatable situation, right? You know, tough. I wanted Wu though. I'll tell you that.
Flobo, did you have one or no?
Yeah, real quick. I know in 22, not to compare it because it's two different experiences, but when
Yeah.
Cleveland got to the postseason and they kind of fell out of the second round, it was like, oh man, they're ahead of schedule. They're young. They'll be back next year, and they weren't. So I got to ask you, man. Seattle, for many years, was seen as a poster child of a team that had no investment or didn't really want to make any changes to make them competitive, and then they get hot. And they get hot in a way where people are buying tridents from Target, taking them to games. Do you think they can run it back? Do you think they'll? I mean, yeah, on the field has to win the games. Do you think the organization is going to try to run it back next year, or you think it's kind of a flash in the pan thing?
Man, I don't want us to be a flash in the pan. I feel like we did finally, by the trade deadline, make some moves that got us into a better position. And we see the results, we see the fruit. Obviously, we have to come out the pocketbook to keep those assets. So we need that to happen. As you said, the track record doesn't look good for making that happen. Will we keep Naylor? Will we keep Polanco? These pieces that are pivotal pieces that I don't see an instant replacement that's garnishing this, the success. So yeah, we have to cement what we have, and I really hope that falling short the way we did doesn't make the suits be like, well, it didn't work, so these guys are out of here, and try to
Right.
shuffle the young guys and do what they do. Because remember, 54% is all we need, right?
Yeah,
So,
the photo said it.
yeah, we've really got some bad track records in the background. So I hope we can do it. I hope we can put the glue on it, sign the contracts, and run it right back because we really got the momentum. The guys are more crushed than anybody that we fell short. And yes, they're young. Yes, they're ready, and they have the leadership right there. And we got the bats now. We see it. We see the numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna put a bow on this one, Don, with
Word.
asking you because this was a really, really. I just think. I mean, Seattle Mariners was one of our kind of MLB training teams to watch all season. For guys on the East Coast like myself, obviously it's not super easy to catch their games because we're going at 10 o'clock Eastern time, if not later,
Yeah.
most days, most nights. And we still watch them because they were so much fun. I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, from what Cal Riley did all season
Yeah.
to J-Rod to Randy to Naylor and Suarez to J.P. Crawford to the pitching that we talked about: George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, Brazard Owens in the back there,
No
Munoz.
doubt.
Like they just
Yeah.
had a very very fun team. So for somebody that has watched it as much as you have,
Mm.
try to articulate to folks how fun this team was and how fun this season was for you.
Man, I mean, I love this team, through and through, and to see it this year and everything kind of become a culmination from players to coaches. I mean, I like to call it Mariner Magic. It was love, it was triumph, it was grit. I mean, yeah, loving to see the players on the field reflecting myself, you know what I'm saying, and seeing us fly around out there and do our dance in the outfield. I mean, the success was beautiful. Along with the loss, it hurts, it stings, but we know we can do it. We know we're capable. So if we can just lock it in, we can really run it back. I'm excited for next season as long as we duplicate what we did this season. So it was magic, man. It was magic.
On a way out, I will the payroll. It looks if Suarez and Naylor both were kind of this season trade dead market. Um,
Mm,
so yeah, Suarez and Naylor look like they will be free agents. Riley signed, J Rod signed, uh, Castillo is signed pretty deeply through, and then it
yeah.
looks like Randy will hit arbitration. His free agent year
Mm,
is 27, same as JP
okay.
Crawford's, but Randy's in a arbitration type situation, so they'll work that
Mm,
out. Hopefully he'll sign
yeah.
before he goes to arbitration. JP stands to make 12 million next year.
Mm.
Um, Logan Gilbert's going to go to arbitration as well. George Kirby's in arbitration. So there's some guys that are. I think Wu might still be under team control. Um,
We can only hope.
so there's some things.
Man.
There are some things that'll have to flush out because again, Suarez at the trade deadline. Don, I thought the team really scary and really
Yeah.
fun. So
Yes,
we'll see how
I agree.
that all works out.
For
All right,
sure.
my brother, you've been doing it all season. Super proud of you. Let everybody know where they can follow you.
Hey, you can follow me at _Don Dishes on just about any social. YouTube, just Don Dishes for the music, as well as Apple Music, all that stuff. I'm everywhere, so
You
Don
had some
Dishes
Mariners
everywhere.
theme. You had some Mariners theme music in there this year, right?
Yeah, I got Mariner music for you. They played in the stadium. We got all that. We got new sounds coming too. So check me out. Check me out.
Man, well, we really appreciate you, my brother. Thank you. And
Yeah.
no matter how it ended up, phenomenal season. So congratulations to you on
Yes,
that.
Word. Thank
amazing
you.
season.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate y'all. I love the show. I love the channel. Whenever I can be on and talk ball with y'all, it's love. I appreciate it.
It's fantastic. All right.
Don
That, ladies and
Dishes.
gentlemen, that was our guy, Don Dishes, as well. And that's a bow, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bow on the NLCS and the ALCS. And let's move forward because obviously we talked a lot about the Mariners with our guy Don. Talked a lot about the Dodgers and Blue Jays. I mean Dodgers and Brewers. We did not talk about a lot, if you will, the actual AL American League champion Toronto Blue Jays that are not only representing the AL East, but they're also representing the country of Canada. This will be a hot mess. Malik, let me jump to
What?
you. No, I
Yeah,
mean
we'll
it's
see.
going
What's
to
a
be
hot mess?
no, it's going to be a mess because the climate that we're in.
Child.
This is like the most. We were laughing. This is about the most. For me, a joyous occasion, but for those who think a little bit differently than I do, having LA and Toronto in the World Series is probably two cities that may not, they may not like really get excited about it. 1600 Pennsylvania, but I
Why?
will. I'm
Why?
excited about it.
Oh.
Hey, you don't
I'm
like
excited
Toronto?
about it. Um, so there you go. Malik, I'm gonna jump to you, man. The Blue Jays
Okay.
have had an outstanding run. They it was all said and done, they were playing for their lives at the end of the regular season. Not in a way of getting into the playoffs, but a way to see if they were going to win the AL East. The Yankees put a lot of pressure on them. They
Mm-hmm.
finished with a tie, which Blue Jays had the tie break, so they were the AL East champions. They get the higher seed. They get the bye, right? So then
Mm-hmm.
from the bye, they do their thing. And again, this is a Blue Jays team that is not it's without Bo Bichette, right? And they're getting new heroes. They had obviously Vlad is Vlad, Springer is Springer, but they're getting performances from guys like you Savage. Everybody knows who you Savage is now.
Right.
They
Um,
do.
so we get to the championship series. They drop the first two games. I'm going to ask you the question I asked Don a little bit in reverse. how like how surprised were you that the Blue Jays went down 0-2, especially after just flat out destroying the Yankees? That was you want to talk about the Brewers being embarrassed, and they were, but the Yankees, I don't want to gloss over what the Blue Jays did to them because that was just a dismantling, from top to bottom. From top to bottom, they were just they destroyed the Yankees.
Shame.
But then they dropped the
Yes.
first home against the Mariners. Where what are you thinking when you're watching the first start of this chip series?
I was quite surprised that the Mariners were able to go up 2-0 at home in Rogers Center, where it's that loud, it's that
Yeah.
much energy. But I wasn't surprised because, like we were saying earlier in the cast, of how almost equally yoked these teams looked. Now, as far as the lineups are concerned, you can like pick your poison. Of course, the Mariners had a little bit more, I guess, home run power. The Blue Jays had a lot more contact oriented and on base percentage types of offensive prowess. So I saw that they were kind of even, but I did not expect for the Blue Jays to drop two in the first two games of that
Insane.
series. It was crazy, and so like just watching how they kind of turned it around, kind of making history, being one of those teams that can just like go down at home and then turn it around and win it and get to the World Series was such a surprise to me. And I think it's been giving us some of the best baseball we've ever seen. We're getting offense out of guys like Andres Jimenez, who pretty much had like a 600, I guess sub
Yeah, it
600
was unreal.
OPS all season.
I was gonna bring that up. No.
He's now he's playing shortstop, which he's probably better at. I would say he's probably the best shortstop on that team. And we got guys like Ernie Clement, who's kind of been doing it for the last 2 years. He's been picking the ball for the last 2 years, but he's not been striking out that much the last couple of years. And a beautiful moment that was in the game was just seeing all about 4 former Guardians players involved in the same play with Shane Bieber. You got Naylor jumping, allegedly jumping in the way of a double play ball with Ernie Clement. It's just crazy, just how many crossovers and how many players actually play for the Guardians or playing in that series, which is also a funny caveat. But it was such a great series, and I don't think we're really privileged to get that type of baseball out of the AL.
Yeah.
We don't really expect it, but the AL gave us some good.
Right.
April, he mentioned it. I was gonna bring it up as well because everybody's gonna talk about Vlad. Everybody's gonna talk about the Springer home run in Game 7. No, a lot of people are gonna forget the heroics of Andres Jimenez. And Jimenez, I think I wrote on Twitter like if the Blue Jays win this series, Jimenez should probably be like MVP because
Yeah.
he was the guy like night after night when the Blue Jays were down that hit Cove from behind like let's take the lead or tie the game home runs to get the bats going. And once they got going, once they got rolling, that's what really took it off. It wasn't out from top to bottom. If you look at the entire series, it wasn't like lights out pitching like we had in the for the Dodgers. It was
Right.
who's going to spark the Blue Jays
Right.
to get some bats and some runs, and they did it.
Mm-hmm. I also think that this is a reflection of just who the Blue Jays ultimately are as a team. So even though that may not have been his whole personality during the regular season, whatever they practice and work on, that obviously is a culture of the Blue Jays to get to the plate, be prepared, and to show up in those moments. And for Jimenez, that's exactly what he did in the ALCS, which was extremely impressive. I just know that for me, like watching the Blue Jays was it was so fun, but I just didn't know like where the light was gonna come on, how often it was gonna come on because I didn't watch them as often as like my dad did. My dad watches the Blue Jays quite frequently. And these were things that he mentioned to me that they're a good hitting team. And the fact that they are a good hitting team, he like we discussed what that is gonna look like versus the Dodgers pitching. Like who is going to have the upper hand in that particular series? I'm not trying to get ahead. But I just want to say for that particular series too, man, it was just a blessing for us to be able to have the experience of the Blue Jays throughout this postseason versus the Yankees, and then of course versus the Mariners. But for them to show up at the right time and offensively, it was just it was wonderful, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Flobo, you know what they say. Big time players make big time plays. And
Mm.
none bigger, I would say, than in this series, Vlad Guerrero Jr. This guy hit like over 400, like 6 home
Yep.
runs, 12 RBI. Like, he got the bag. He got earlier the extension that he wanted. He's going to be a Blue Jay for life. He was born in Canada,
Yep.
right? His dad has ties to the Expos and all this stuff. How awesome was it for you, for somebody that's like follows baseball and is familiar with Vladdy Jr. and all of the things he's been through, all his potential? How awesome was it for you, for the world? Let's begin. We're talking about a lot of casuals, especially in the Yankee series, that was like, "Ooh, the Yankees are playing the Blue Jays in the playoffs. Let's go to a bar and watch this." Or like you said, the American League Championship Series. Let's go see what this is all about. And they got to see Vlad Jr. be full Vlad Jr. on display. How cool was that?
Talk about a star making performance. I mean, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has been a baseball star for a very long time, but this is really the first time we saw lore. And that's what really
Yeah.
hooks casual fans and kids about this. You talk about how strong the Yankees were brought up as a franchise. The Yankees, thankfully, were just completely embarrassed on this bullet season. And this story of Vlad Guerrero Jr. being like, I want to win a ring and give it to my dad.
To my
People
dad.
don't even like baseball can get with that. That is awesome.
Right.
And this is, you back it up night in and night out. You're on a team in the only team in Canada. You're already an underdog. I said at the beginning of this of the year on this show, I said I like the Blue Jays, but they never finish it. They're making me look stupid just showing up here and hanging out. Like, I don't want to use the L word because we can always debate about who and what is likable and unlikable. But the Blue Jays have everything going. They're a strong team. They are team first. They find a way to stick out because they're Canadian location, and there's storylines you can pull from. This right here is magic for them.
Can I add
I
something
agree.
too?
Yeah,
Because
go ahead. Go ahead, Amy.
Vlad Guerrero was my player to watch. And I am just so happy that we got to see a star, to me, become the superstar that we've always known him to be. Because I feel like, do y'all believe that y'all, or have y'all already classified him as a superstar? I feel
No,
like this
it's
From
a good
Toronto.
that's a good point. But no, because we were talking about, remember we talked about it on one of the podcasts before the playoffs started, where it was who in this postseason could be breakout stars. And I think we took Vlad and those guys kind of off the list because we were like, Vlad's already a star. He can't really be the breakout star. And it turns out I was wrong.
He is a
Because I do
superstar.
think this performance elevated Vlad to a level where,
Right.
people, like I said, people that are casually watching these games, if, are going to be like, that guy's really good. And more importantly, if there was hesitation for like big corporations and big companies to get that, to be like, oh, do we really want to sign this guy to a multi-year endorsement or have him in commercials? Now you do, because not only is he like hitting amazingly, but he's been like the highlight reel, the smile, the
Yes.
tears, this backstory that Flobo just mentioned with his dad,
Family.
he's become like the guy that is very marketable in this series. And I do think, hopefully, I can only hope that a series like this propels him into the stratosphere.
I can only
I
say
agree.
that I think another thing that's really amazing about Vladimir Guerrero is his hitting profile. I think that the Blue Jays are really, with them signing him to this long-term deal, they're hitting like Vlad. Vlad is not the type of hitter this season that hit 40 home runs. A lot of the balls that Vlad hits are on a line and they're very
Yes,
hard. So the home run that he
yes,
hit in game, I think this was game 7, that home run that got out of the park in less than like
yep.
a second. The way that Vlad hits the ball is kind of indicative of how he's always hit the ball. 11% walk rate, about 13% strikeout rate. The Yankees kind of, mold their hitting around their guy, Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is a very special hitter. He lifts the ball.
Right.
His launch angle is crazy. And so you see how they kind of follow that model. And I think that the Blue Jays have just kind of followed this high contact, hit the ball on the ground hard if you have to model.
Hmm.
And I think they signed the right guy, even though he didn't hit 45 home runs this year. He had just as good
Right.
of a hitting season last year that he had this year. And now he saved all of his home runs for the playoffs. So it worked out.
I'm going to bring on our second guest in here very, very soon. Malik, I wanted to ask you this question because it's a resident. It's really important, I think, for you as an Astros fan to bring it up. To bring it up, because I have gone full heavy, and we'll bring our guy Santos in on this in a second. I've gone full heavy into the George Springer fandom. I have been. If you guys have been following, I've been heavy in his
Yeah,
corner
we
all year. And I think he's fantastic. He's a phenomenal player. Um, Obviously, he hits the big home run, game 7. I believe it's the 7th inning. They're down 2 runs. He hits the 3-run home run. That's all they need in terms of like closing out the series. Springer gets the big hit. Obviously, I've talked about Springer leading up to the World Series. Do you think George Springer's home run and performance kind of puts 2017? Because again, this is what I want to ask. George Springer in 2017, not only did the Astros win the World Series, but Springer was the World Series MVP. I mean, every home run George Springer hits in the postseason, he's I think now like fourth all time home runs. It's fourth or fifth, but he's moving up the ladder because they were just he hit so many home runs in 2017 that put him in the top 5 of all time postseason.
Yeah.
My question is, because I'm a huge Springer fan, does this performance in this 2025 postseason and going in the World Series, does that put him in a different light? Does this elevate him a little bit past not just 2017, but some of the people that are still going to be talked about from 2017? Because again, you can't bring up certain names without having 2017 brought up. Springer is one of those names, but now he's done it in 2025 in a pretty awesome fashion. Where does that put, you think, people's like relationship with Springer?
I think he's been trying to wipe that away since he's joined the Blue Jays, and with all those years that he went through, where he was like a full 100-point OPS less the player than he was when he was with Houston. When he joined Toronto, I would say a lot of his performance kind of catered. I would say he had a couple of great years at Toronto, comparison wise.
All-star years, but he's also had a lot of health issues.
Yeah, very really solid years, George Springer type years. And then he had a couple of years where you were kind of wondering, like, is he getting older? Is it the cheating scandal? Is he really that player? And the way that he performed during the regular season, I think kind of confirmed, like, okay, he's probably changing the way that he's approaching a plate a little bit, getting into that 35-year-old strength that Marcell Ozuna and Nelson Cruz got into late in their careers. And I think that this postseason is really wiping it away because of just the way that he performed during the regular season. We know that the postseason can just right all wrongs, like it did for Giancarlo Stanton with the Yankees in the last couple of years, of how he kind of was not showing up. But like the fact that he showed up during the regular season more times than not, and he showed up during the postseason, I think people are going to kind of, they don't really think of George Springer as a Houston Astro after this moment, I would say.
Man, stop lying. Come on.
He's a girl.
April and
Not
Flomo
lying.
are looking crazy. So I'll look. I was gonna ask the Astro fan this. I'll bring everybody in. You guys let me know before we bring Santos in for his comments.
What's up?
Really quickly, Flomo, April, you seem to disagree with Malik that we're moving past 2017 here with Springer.
People can move on. I think people don't get mad at AJ Hinch anymore, and Teoscar Hernandez is a hero. But Springer and Altuve will be booed forever. That's just the way.
And Correa.
And Correa will be booed,
And Correa.
forever.
Correa,
Man, he going to change.
Especially being that he was one of the main ones involved with it. So I think that to some of y'all, you may excuse it because of how you feel about them. But I can tell you right now, maybe it wasn't that way on Twitter, but on Threads, I have forgotten about some things. And people were resurrecting of the past. They were bringing up articles. So no, that has not been forgotten by some people, and it will never be forgotten by some people because they've taken it.
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, look, I think it won't be forgotten by some people. Absolutely not. Right?
Maybe
Again,
they're just loud.
we're talking about two things that I don't think necessarily correlates 100% to reality. And what I mean by that is social media, because it doesn't matter what you post on social media. Somebody's going to say something. Like, there's always someone on social media that's going to take a contrarian view. Now, and again, this is not everybody knows the Astros investigation and back then and what, and in regards to it going beyond the pale of what was acceptable, right? Like they are now, and it is 100% documented. It's been investigated. All the stuff that came out. People got fired and suspended and so forth. The only thing that didn't happen that I think people thought probably should have, depending on where you lived and who you are, is they didn't punish the players and they didn't take away the championship, right? And it's different because it's not the NCAA and it's not, you know what I mean? It's there's a lot harder things to do, but I think all the evidence like displayed clearly that there was an elaborate sign stealing using technology that shouldn't have been used to do the things that the Astros were doing. With that said, now this is where all of this stuff gets murky. There are a handful of players on that 2017 team that said, I didn't want anything to do with it. And I think some of those players may have bared out, Altuve is definitely one of those players that said, I didn't want anything to do with it, whether he did or not. He was on record saying, I didn't ask for certain things. I get mad at folks when they bang trash cans because I couldn't hit that way. I just couldn't hit that way. I say all that to say, I do think that what happens on social media in some ways when it relates to baseball and sports in general is not necessarily all of reality. Two, we're also dealing, like I said, we're dealing with baseball fans. And I think baseball fans are also in some ways devoid of what, there's baseball fans, there's people arguing about Barry Bonds and Pete Rose and all kinds of, because this is what baseball fans do. So something like this, I say all that to say, I will be interested to see if Springer continues to have the postseason that he's had already. April, you mentioned it as well. He had a phenomenal regular season. When he was playing and he's healthy, it looked like Springer was in the highlights all the time.
Right.
And you're on a Blue Jay team, like you said, like we're always talking about. People like home runs. And there's no pop outside of Vlad and Springer. There's not a lot of Alejandro Kirk, but there's not a lot on the Blue Jays lineup. So you're looking at this stuff and you're like, who are the guys I want to identify? And those are the guys that come up big, right? So I'll be interested. Ladies and gentlemen, with that said, we're bringing in our second special guest of the evening. Santos, the baseball aficionado, is here. We always love to have him on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Santos is one of my favorite baseball people to talk to, and Santos is also one of the first people that was like, because I was giving like daily George Springer highlight updates, and Sanders is one of the first people that was like, Cheats, he's Hispanic, right? He's Latino. He's not a Black American player. As much as look, as much as you're riding for him, you do know he's Hispanic. He's one of ours. He's over here. And I was like, Sanchez,
Hey, we all black though. I'm just
hey,
saying we all black.
that's the truth. That's the
We
truth.
black,
We can share it. We
but I
can
get
share
what
it.
you're saying. Yeah.
It was fantastic. It was fantastic because I knew that I knew this like how he identified himself. I knew why, but you're right. Like I don't think a lot of people fully understood that he's got Panamanian heritage, he's got Puerto Rican heritage, and the way that kind of the way he makes it all work in America is by saying I'm black and I'm Hispanic,
No,
and
it
that's
works. It works. It
and it's
works.
true. It's true.
Yeah, it is
Um,
true. Yep.
the one thing that's it's interesting because again, when we talk about this stuff as well, especially when we talk about diversity, demographics in baseball and so forth, the thing that really threw me off when I really dug deep into like players like George Springer, and there's tons of them. There's tons of Hispanic, Latino players that are obviously black and have different heritage. Our good brothers, Josh and Richie Palacios, Puerto Rican,
Yeah.
born in New York.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Um, but the thing about this Springer thing that threw me off a little bit was it was Springer's grandfather, George Senior, because Springer's the
Hmm.
third. He's George Springer the third. George Springer Senior is the one that actually immigrated from Panama to the United States. I want to say in the 50s. And so George Springer's father, George Jr., was actually born in Connecticut. And then George Springer
Right. Right.
was born in Connecticut. So it was like learning all of this stuff is just fascinating. Um, but it's awesome, brother. Welcome to the show. I know you have been really excited as well because all the players that you cover deeply. I mean, there's been just kind of cool thing after cool thing, record after record. We mentioned for the Blue Jays, Alejandro Kirk. I think he's the first Mexican-born player to hit 3 home runs in a postseason game.
Correct. That's right.
We got Vladdy doing all the things that Vladdy does. You've got
Mm-hmm.
Teoscar doing all the things that Teoscar does on the Dodgers side. How do you kind of put in perspective both championship series, and then let's lean into the World Series a little bit? What do you like? What are you looking for when you look at the Dodgers Blue Jays?
So one of the things I want to look for is something that a lot of people are not paying attention to, and that is the underbelly of the Dodger bullpen. And I feel like not enough is being made of their Achilles heel because the Brewers were unable to take advantage of it. So
Mm.
know that the Dodgers, yes, they are favorites. They should be favorites. They have the pedigree. The Blue Jays are a very live underdog. They are not the Brewers. They are not the Brewers.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're not hitting like them.
Say
No,
that.
no, they're not the Brewers. And I have to say another thing too. I think the Blue Jays will give them a run for their money with their style of hitting, athleticism. They're very versatile in the positions
Mm.
where, obviously we saw the Clements of the world. The Kirk is a scrappy little, roly poly guy. He doesn't even look like a baseball player. You have George Springer, and you have obviously Vladdy, and then you have your Savage, who's turning into a postseason hero. Shane Bieber. The question is for the Blue Jays is, are they going to have enough pitching to hold up? That's always been the question. I think they're going to hit enough. I don't know if we don't know if they're going to pitch enough. That is something we're going to have to find out about, right? But I think the keys will be getting to the Dodger bullpen. I think they were able to mask a lot of their weaknesses because they just, they hammered the Brewers away, and everybody said, "Yeah, well, the bullpen is back." No, they still got the same guys in that bullpen. They still, we need to see again. Now the starters they're dangerous. Like no doubt about it. Dodgers starting pitching and their lineup obviously is dangerous. But if the Blue Jays can get to their starters early, knock them out of the game, It's going to be a problem for the Dodgers. As a matter of fact, I'm picking the Blue Jays in this series. They're going to win this series
Mm.
in six. Blue Jays in six.
Okay.
Ooh,
So,
six.
obviously, you
Like
definitely
that.
make some good points, especially about getting the Dodgers starting pitching rotation. Easier said than done, right? Because the Dodgers are pitching so well. Um, I think one of the things that the Blue Jays do really well, and you've seen it throughout the entire postseason, and if this can be a chink in the armor, if you will, to getting to the Dodgers pitching, um, is on it. And I wanted to ask April, like, the Blue Jays have just quality at bats. They really don't waste at bats because they got, and we're not again. We mentioned Clement, but we haven't mentioned Varsho, and we haven't mentioned Barger, and we haven't mentioned who's the hero. I'm gonna say it wrong, but is it Luke's? Um,
Right.
like those guys,
Lucas.
all they do not um take an at bat off, right? Like, even if they're not scoring runs, even if they're not getting hits, they're fouling off 7, 8 pitches. They're spoiling pitches.
Look
April,
at
you
who the Dodgers played. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. Look
okay?
at who the Dodgers played. The Phillies, a high power, high strikeout team. The Brewers, high power, high strikeout team. These the Blue Jays are not the same kind of team. They're just not. And I think
April,
everybody's is actually dropping the ball on that. People are sleeping on that.
I'm gonna
Well, I
jump in.
think for us
Okay.
as the regular watchers of it, you're absolutely right. What you mentioned about the bullpen is exactly what the Phillies were trying to do.
In
The
theory,
Right,
problem was
right.
the Phillies couldn't get the bats going in order to be able to get to the bullpen. And when they did get to the bullpen, they couldn't overcome what happened. With the Blue Jays, you're absolutely right. They take every at bat like it is the
Mm-hmm.
first and the one. They take it extremely seriously. But one thing about the Blue Jays in their at bats are they're very patient for their pitches. So they don't mind fouling off balls because it's not their pitch and getting that pitch count up until they get what they want, and then boom, look where you are. You're on the base. And the another thing you mentioned it too, Malik, whenever you were talking about Vlad, is they put the ball in play. They're not just trying to hit home runs. So the Blue Jays are just a really good hitting team. And that's why I mentioned, like, I wonder what the pitching we've seen, how it will match up versus a team like this. Now, during the season, I don't know who was pitching. I think we took the series against the Blue Jays, but we also know that doesn't matter in the
Mm-mm.
grand scheme of things of the postseason. So what I am hoping, what I'm expecting is we're just gonna have some really good baseball, which is what we've been seeing this entire postseason.
that,
But I don't even
I'm,
find the Blue Jays to be
I'm
underrated, if
I'm
I'm being
pulling a
completely
Flobo.
honest.
I'm pulling a
Huh?
Flobo. I'm pulling a Flobo, April, and making faces.
Why?
Because you don't want good baseball. You want a 4-0. You want a 4-0 Dodgers. Like, if my team won the World Series, I don't care how good the baseball is. I don't want good.
Yeah,
I don't
Listen,
want good games. I want to
yeah.
win. I want a
I
championship to bring
And
home back to
as
back.
quickly as possible. As
Exactly.
quickly as
She's
possible.
like, you hear this Flobo? She's like, I just
but
want good
but
games.
good
The
baseball
competition.
means that we win 4-0 too. So I mean,
Yeah.
hey, it's all a matter of perspective of what good baseball looks like. But no, I do think that the whole underrated Blue Jays thing, I think that that's something that a casual fan would say. For people who are completely in tune to exactly who the Blue
Hmm.
Jays are, this is not going to be just a walk in the park for them. I have the Dodgers in six though.
Flobo, Flobo, what do
Here's
you think?
here's
Okay,
uh,
let me get Flobo in here. Flobo, what do you think the key to the World Series is going to be between these two teams, the Blue Jays and the Dodgers?
I'm gonna come out of left field quite literally, and that is the athleticism of the position players in that defense. And people say at the beginning of the season, we talked about the Dodgers' Achilles heels, and I said I like the Dodgers. They're almost
Age.
world beaters, but the one thing they have is they're not athletic. when it comes to hitting balls in the gap. I know it's a
Mhm.
very small needle to thread, but when you have a contact team like Toronto, they can use that to their advantage. I love
Mm.
Freddie Freeman, but he don't got that length like he did a couple of seasons ago because he's just a year older. That's the one thing. If the Toronto Blues can exploit that, then this may be a 6 game a series in their sweat. But I don't know, man. I mean, talking about momentum, Shohei Ohtani just said he had momentum times two. You have a game like that. He must be having one of those like Super Mario Brothers, like you know what I mean, like invincibility stars. Because I don't know how you
Yeah.
contain someone like that right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, um, I think as World Series often do, I think it will come down to kind of who shows up pitching wise, right? Like good pitching always beats good hitting. We know that. Malik, let me ask you because I think this is a really, really key thing. If we get late in these games, and these games are very close games, I know in theory, Dave Roberts in theory is going to trust Sasaki. Because Sasaki has been, if you look at the grand scheme of the postseason, Sasaki has looked to get his stuff back. He's looked to kind of shut down folks later in the game. However,
Mhm.
if you remember, there was one Phillies game where Roki didn't have it. He didn't have it. He came in. They took him out really quickly. And for a split second, you're looking at Roki, and he looked like the old Roki that wasn't that good, right? Like the beginning of the season Roki that everybody was trying to figure out what was going on. Now, and he came back in later, again, had the electric stuff again. But if these games are close, are you trusting Zazaki uh, to close these games out? What do you say, Malik? How much trust do the Dodgers have in Roki?
Man, I'm trusting whatever the nastiest, most non like the arm that they haven't seen. I'm just gonna look at. I'm gonna go to the iPad and see. Okay, has he faced Sasaki? Has he faced this pitcher? I think at that point, when you only have so many outs to play with in an entire year, you give them just the dirtiest arm you can give them. And I think if Sasaki is that guy, you give him that guy. And right now, he's looking like Japan Sasaki. You know, the 99 dotted Sasaki, not the, just came here and was kind of getting adjusted. I feel like with that being said, he went through a lot kind of coming here. It's a big transition coming to the United States in his history. But off of that topic, I think that the Dodgers bullpen maybe they got a little bit of rest in that Brewers series because the reason why this bullpen is not as good as it is because they've been kind of deep fried this whole season with the pitching rotation not being there. So maybe they might show up and just throw some of their best pitches, the type of pitches that just unfortunately tear elbow ligaments. These types of pitches, those very high intensity pitches. So I think that some of these guys, even maybe if Tanner Scott makes that roster, Tanner Scott, a guy that
He's gonna make it with Vesia out.
okay. See, so with them not trusting him all year, you might see the nastiest Tanner Scott you ever see. You might see the nastiest rookies. So I think it's gonna just come. It's gonna be a arms race around those types of games at the end. Where if it's a close game and both the pitchers have been doing well and they've been locked in, we're gonna just see the nastiest pitches we've ever seen in a series.
Well, we talked about it going into, I guess, both postseason series, and I think we've seen it play out quite a bit. Runners in scoring position, bases open, and again, this is no real quote unquote knock on Mookie Betts, even though Mookie Betts hasn't had a full Mookie Betts season the way that he normally has. But we've seen it over and over again now. Runners on, base empty, you're walking Shohei, which I do think is the right move. Look, I let Don talk about challenging players.
Right.
I think we've seen enough of challenging Shohei.
Right.
So I'd rather take my licks, walk Shohei, face Mookie Betts with runners on, and we saw it a number of times through this postseason. I think we'll see it again in the World Series if push comes to shove. Santos, what are we What are we thinking? What are we expecting out of Mookie Betts this World Series?
Honestly, I'd like to see him do his thing. I mean, I'd love to see glimpses of the old Mookie. Obviously, there's been some glimpses here and there, but just offensively, he hasn't been the same player for the whole year for the most part. I mean, he's had
He's had
issues,
some flashes, but most of it, yeah. I mean, he lost
inconsistent.
that 15. He lost that 15 pounds before the season started,
Yeah.
and he'll tell you himself he was just trying to get back for most of the season to his old self.
Yeah, and I think obviously, look, the Dodgers have so much depth that they can obviously they don't, it'd be nice for them, right, for Mookie to go off and be, dare I say, a World Series MVP should they win. But Dodgers have so much depth they don't necessarily need vintage Mookie. But heck, I mean, he's a Gold Glove finalist. His defense is going to be there at short, but it'd be nice if he get a couple dingers, steal some bases, show some flashes of vintage Mookie.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and it's a good point. And the Dodgers are deep. Malik and Flobo, I tend to think though, where you're going into this World Series, you have to go into it saying Shohei Ohtani's not going to be the guy that beats me, right? So it's either got to be Teoscar Hernandez or Kike Hernandez or Tommy Edmonds or Muncy. Somebody else, not Shohei Ohtani, is gonna have to beat me. And that person usually that comes up right after Ohtani with runners on is Mookie Betts. So, like, how do you even like put that in perspective? Because again, like I said, you're facing Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie, 3 MVPs, right? And then you've got to deal with all of those other guys because it is the others. It's the Kikes and the Tommy Edmonds, Andy Paez. These are the guys that are, yeah, because they're the ones that come through. They seem to execute at the bottom of the order better than most teams.
Go ahead, Flobo.
You don't, man. And I think that there's a bit of chip on the shoulder for Mookie. You see the frustration sometimes on games where it's like, oh, really? Okay, fine. And that kind of works out for him. But Ohtani is so off the charts that even if you say, okay, well, Japan's watching or the world's watching, let me give him a couple at bats, you're just doing yourself a disservice, right? So, like, because even if you walk him, he's a stolen base threat. So, like, why? Like, it's like pick your poison there, man. So, the bottom of the lineup has shown out and has definitely been something that's been added on for the Dodgers. They're very balanced on their lineup, and so that's what makes it so difficult. The only thing you really hope for now is to try to pitch for contact, and try to pitch for some sort of ground ball action, because there ain't no way you're gonna do a challenge 95 down the middle and expect to whiff anybody on that lineup right now.
Yeah,
But pitchers want to compete too. Like pitchers out there to compete. Like I agree with I'm sorry, what was his name? The Seattle Mariners. I agree with him. Like you got to challenge guys. Like you're not there. You can't just walk guys. Pitchers want to compete. Like what are we doing? Like you got to pitch to them.
We're trying to win a World Series.
No, but the pitchers don't want to hear that though. Pitchers don't want to hear that.
I don't care if Max Scherzer throws his glove over the outfield. If I tell Scherzer we're walking Shohei, we're walking Shohei.
Well, it depends on the situation, but not every at bat.
Not every at bat, but again, base empty. You know what? I'm going to take my shot with another guy as opposed to giving up that 3-run home run to show it. Because again,
yeah, but he's a deer though. He can run.
I'm saying
he's a deer.
That gazelle, Shohei Ohtani.
He's a gazelle.
I'm saying the same thing with Vlad. What we didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
What we didn't put in the details is a lot of Vlad's home run damage was done with nobody on. So it was like a lot of solo home runs for Vlad in this series, right? In this postseason. That's fine, because if nobody's on, you can give up, lead off. You can come back from commercial break, Vlad's leading off. If runners are on first or second and I got 1 out or 2, I'm not pitching to Vlad. That's crazy.
Exactly.
All right.
Wait, are we going to get the graphic that says 5 more batters until Shohei Ohtani?
No, 8 more batters. Until he's walked, 8 more batters.
Hey, we might get it for Vlad, though. We might get it
but
for
my
Vlad.
favorite is, I did not know about Shohei Cam. I think somebody alluded to it, but the idea that the Japanese broadcast only shows Shohei.
It's true. Be a lot.
They said so. The Japanese broadcast does not go to commercial break when the United States go to commercial break. During the commercial breaks, for all the people watching Japan, they just show Shohei. It's Shohei in the dugout. It's Shohei getting right. It's fantastic. Now,
I
again,
can't stand Shohei Ohtani. I
how-
can't stand. I
What?
can't
He's not even
stand him.
doing nothing.
Stop.
It's
He's
not
leading
his
the front.
fault. No, no. Okay. I like as a player, yes, but the just the constant slobber. I mean, I can't take it. I can't
That's
like.
not his fault though. He didn't do
I
nothing.
hate it, man. Oh yeah, I can't hate it. Which is fitting. We're talking about him right with the NBA scandal today. Which
Right.
the Shohei thing was done in like 3 weeks,
Yeah, he's one of
but
the look.
FBI can't get it right.
He been one of the happiest. He's been one of the happiest people in the world right now because they're not talking about him anymore.
No,
Oh,
he's sick
April,
of
what
the
do you
rug.
think?
I wanted to say, yeah, I wanted to also mention when y'all were talking about the batting that Dave Roberts actually did a little switcheroo in the beginning of our lineup. So it was previously Shohei, Mookie, and then Teoscar. But now in the postseason, it is Shohei, Mookie, Will, Freddie. So, and then you have Muncy and Teoscar, or he'll flip that every now and then.
Yep.
So, yes, there are elements of that lineup where you have Will Smith batting very well as a catcher. So even if Mookie doesn't get it, then here you have Will right behind them, and then you have Freddie right behind him.
Yeah, no.
So
Talk to
as y'all were talking about with the batting order, I wanted to make sure that people who don't typically watch the Dodgers know that switcheroo has happened, and that's another factor playing into the postseason for our offense.
All right, we're gonna do a quick game here. It's gonna be rapid fire, so we won't have a lot of explanation, but we are gonna go through this. Before we do it, I got to take a really quick break to obviously shout out our partners, the Players Alliance, Numbers Game Scorecards, Minority Prospects. I think I left Minority Prospects off earlier, but shout out to my guys over there. They're fantastic. Um, Even Rebellion Harvest Sunflower Seeds, shout out them out as well as they do their renovations and overhaul. Okay, World Series rapid fire. I'm going to ask you. I've got it written down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things, and you're going to tell me who has the advantage: Blue Jays or Dodgers. Uh, if you have to elaborate, you can only elaborate with like a sentence. We're going through this. Okay. First and foremost, hitting. Who do you think has the advantage hitting the baseball? Blue Jays or Dodgers? Flobo, starting with you.
I'm gonna give it to the Dodgers based on depth or length of lineup.
Dodgers advantage hitting. Malik.
Dodgers.
Dodgers advantage hitting. April. Are you just gonna pick Dodgers
Go
for
to
all of the
Santos.
topics?
Go to Santos first.
What's that?
Go to Santos first.
Santos.
Dodgers.
Dodgers hitting. All right, April.
I'm gonna go with my Dodgers.
All right. Everybody, including myself, has advantage hitting the ball. Dodgers lineup. Starting pitching.
Starting,
Oh, Dodgers.
starting pitching. Yeah, it's LA. Yeah.
Dodgers.
LA.
Everybody's Dodgers. Starting pitching. Santos, where are you on this one? Advantage.
Dodgers.
Dodgers. All right. Everybody's on the Dodgers for starting pitching. That's the easy one. Bullpen. Bullpen.
It's Toronto. I got
We're going
Toronto.
All right. Blue Jays finally on the board. Blue Jays bullpen for Flobo. Malik, bullpen. Who has a better bullpen? Dodgers or Blue Jays?
I'm gonna give it to the Dodgers again.
Dodgers. I like it. April
know.
bullpen.
Regular season.
Can I say even, or do I have to pick one? Because I think that they're evenly matched.
I will go with even. This is just for the sakes of the podcast. Santos.
Okay.
Blue Jays. Dodgers bullpen is not good.
Blue Jays. Now, I will take license on the whole one sentence thing already. I'm breaking my own rules. You're putting Kershaw in the bullpen. You're putting Sasaki in the bullpen, of course. Obviously, you're gonna have the other Blake there. You're gonna have Sheehan there.
Casparius.
Playoff Kershaw for real.
Jake Dryer.
You're right, Flobo. You're right. I'm gonna go Blue Jays. Blue
let's
Jays it
go.
is for
It's
bullpen.
cute.
Defense. Defense. Who do you give the advantage to on defense? Malik,
Toronto.
start with you.
It's gonna go to Toronto Blue Jays.
Jays. All right. Flobo, you said Jays.
Yep.
April, defense.
Dodgers.
Dodgers it is. Same
What?
defense.
What kind of cheat?
Come
They were giving me
on.
listen,
Mookie can't
they
play
gave
for
me
everyone,
names.
April. Mookie can't play every position. I know
Right.
that y'all threw him at short.
See,
He
I
can't
mean, he
play
could, but he
every
won't.
They're
position.
swimming half the time.
He could.
He can though.
He's catching tomorrow. I swear.
If you could put
He can't
Kike,
play every position. He
if you
can't play every position at one time.
if you could put Kike and Mookie all 9 positions, you'd be straight. But that's not happening.
Or Tommy Evans plays good defense.
Keep
See
it
Oscar
yeah.
All
Bond
right.
out there.
So
I'm
you're
sorry.
saying Blue Jays, Santos?
Of course, yeah. The blue. Have you seen the outfield? Have you seen? Come on. I could play left field better than Teoscar Hernandez. What are we doing, man?
Hey,
Well, I want to
he's
see
in
that.
right field
He's
now.
a terrible outfielder.
Lobo,
Put that
Lobo
AI
plays
right.
Mets.
Santos
Yeah.
or Teoscar's body out there playing
Right.
that field.
Let's do
All
it.
right, two more.
Okay.
Execution.
Huh?
What does that mean?
Execution.
That's a tool. Okay.
And what I mean by execution, like you know what I mean. We're talking about in the Seattle series, getting the bunt down, doing the things that we need to execute plays when we need defensive, like the Dodgers defensive wheel play in the Philly game when the bunt goes down and a big time extra inning game. Those are execution plays. Those are game changing different plays. Who executes better when the pressure's on? The Blue Jays or the Dodgers?
Dodgers.
Dodgers for April.
Okay.
That's a hard one.
It is. It's a hard one.
Okay.
Okay,
So go ahead.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say that heads up plays tend to go with athleticism, and therefore I'm gonna say Toronto. But that's a tough
Jays
one.
for Flobo. Malik. Execution. The little things that are going to get you through this game.
All right. I'm gonna put it even because the Dodgers execute their pitches. They execute those pitches pretty well. The starting, but the plays, the offensive and defensive plays, Blue Jays. So I got to give it even because I guess this would you depend on what you're saying about like execution because they execute those pitches.
Santos.
I think it's even because just based on I know this is long, but the Dodgers have some defensive deficiencies, but usually they do make the high IQ plays. So, but the Blue Jays are more athletic, and so I think it's even with that.
I like it. In my mind, I want to go with Jays because I think I always like the small ball team for execution. Like I'm going to go with Jays because I think the small ball team executes better than the guys that hit the long ball. I do think the Dodgers kind of are more of a long ball hitting team than the Blue Jays. So I could be wrong on that, but I'm going to go execution Jays. Last but not least, we kind of alluded to it, but in-game managerial management. Who has the better manager, John Schneider or Dave Roberts? Flobo.
The man has a whole war room, man, underneath that Dodger Stadium. I got to give it to Doc. This dude,
Doc Roberts.
He's like Batman. He finds weaknesses about everybody.
Yeah.
All right, Doc Roberts, 1 vote. Better manager in game. What do we got, Malik?
It is Dave Roberts.
Doc Roberts. April. Doc Roberts. Shit, he got Santos in game.
Unbiased journalist.
Are we shorting John Schneider here? He's doing a good job.
We're not shorting him, but that Doc man, he's a
that staff is legit.
Who has the better manager, Dodgers or Blue Jays?
Okay, we're talking about just this year.
Yeah, in-game management this series. Who has the advantage?
Okay, it's hard for me. I don't think. See, I don't know. This is gonna be a little controversial, but I don't care. Like, I don't think Dave Roberts is a good manager. I don't.
Okay,
No
Nope.
controversy.
What?
Mm-mm.
here,
Nope.
Highest
here,
I think
record?
he's a very. Oh, he's. But so by default, because he has a World Series, I guess I'll give it to him.
He has
But
two.
That
oh,
trophy
right,
don't
right.
count.
That
Trophy
don't
don't
count.
count. Yeah.
He
He
has
has
a
two.
he has a World Series and a half.
Okay.
So I'll give. I'll give no. Honestly,
Je-
no.
Jesus,
All jokes aside,
Jesus.
he has two rings. Obviously, one last year.
Yeah, Phil, you-
Um, I'll give it to him just based on experience and the fact that he does have success. So by default,
Wait,
I'll give it to him. I don't think he's a great man.
who's a good manager
Santos,
then?
this
I'm
is
just
the
curious now.
winningest manager we've had in the last 5 years.
That's what. Okay, so who's a good manager right
That is
now? I want
true.
a comparison.
That is
Is
true.
it like? Are you saying like Schneider is, or you're saying
Jerry,
Hinges?
No, he
I
said Roberts
I
over
I
Snyder.
think I think I like Snyder better, but because doesn't have the he only has really one run
Now
right
it's
now.
rough.
No, I hear you, but you said
Cora Hinch,
okay.
Francona. Um,
Rain and hide.
No.
no.
oh
Um,
dang.
Hey man,
Yo,
yeah,
Pujols.
I
raw deal,
That's good
raw deal,
Suzuki.
I put
raw
Roberts up
deal.
there as a
I'm
top
no
five
no
manager
no.
in baseball.
Oh
I
man,
agree.
now you tripping. You
I
I
agree.
tripping.
I just
You
checked
And
the
tripping.
listen,
Yeah,
Dave
yeah,
actually
look.
became a little bit more assertive this year as a manager than in previous years. So yeah, I definitely agree with Malik
I
on that
think
one.
he
He's
Uh,
more like I'll give you the example. He's not a bad manager. I'm not saying that at all. Like there's a lot of bad managers. Oh, there have been bad managers.
okay.
He's not that. I'm not saying that. Like he's better than Boone. I think he's better than Aaron Boone. But
Everyone's better than Aaron
Dang.
Boone. That don't count. Come
what?
on.
that's not saying a lot.
Everybody's
That's
But
better
not
than
saying a lot.
Boone.
no. But what I'm
Boone beat
saying, no.
Boone
Fire
beat
Boone down.
What
Boone's
I'm saying
trash.
is he's very similar to a Joe Torre in his day, and people get revisionist history where his strength is not the tactician stuff. His strength is managing the egos and the players. That's his strength.
Okay.
Like he's not like a Terry Francona that turns lemons into lemonade or whatever. Where he
Mm,
drags a bum team to the World Series or not World Series,
mm.
but to the postseason. You
That's a good
know,
that's a
Okay.
good point. I'll take that.
Jay Roberts, not a
Um,
good manager, not
I
a bad
mean, it's
manager.
not
I'm
like
gonna.
people were sitting down twiddling their thumbs to go and get Max Muncy and Miguel Rojas either. I'm just saying.
That's committee thinking.
I, but that's not Dave. That's the GM.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Don?
this is what I'll say though. I think Doc Roberts. I do think he's a good manager. I will push
that's
back
right.
on that.
I'll
I
stand
think
on an
he is.
island, but
Yeah.
listen.
I think he's a good manager. I think Schneider's a really good manager too. I mean, you
He is.
can't look at what the Blue Jays did this
Yeah,
season
he's
He
good.
is.
and being at the top of the East all year, being at like the top of the American League, honestly,
Right.
pretty much all year, um, and making he also had to make lemons out of lemonade. He's dealt with some injuries as
Yeah.
well.
Hmm.
Like they're dealing with the Bo Bichette thing now.
Right.
He's got to manage a whole
And
bunch of folks
Santander.
as well.
Yeah, he got
Oh
Um,
nothing.
yeah.
with that said, yeah. With that said, we all agree the weakest part of the Dodgers is their bullpen. And it seems to me Roberts always figures out a way, whether it's the minions under Dodger Stadium, Flobo, or whatever. He always figures out a way to make the right call, I think, and pull, working that bullpen, stringing it together, and having the right matchups that actually are successful. And if we've gone through this entire postseason, the main thing that a lot of folks are yelling at is I wouldn't have took this guy out here. I would have left this guy in here. How do you let, you know, pitcher X pitch to Vladdy in that situation? Why
Hmm.
is Bizardo in the game now? Like that a lot of bullpen backseat driving has
Mm-hmm.
been happening this season. And I do think that Roberts somehow always figures out,
Hmm.
like outside of just that Kershaw farewell, let me throw you in against the Phillies in the
Crushed.
in Dodger Stadium. Let me give you this charity bullpen because I think that's what it was. They were like Kershaw's warming up. Let's all have a farewell moment.
I
And
have an
like
example
Philly,
for you. You want me to give you an example from the All-Star game? I know it's only the All-Star game. the National League could have closed out the All Star game, but he decides to throw Robert Suarez in the safe situation instead of Edwin
Yeah, but
Diaz. That's one. That's just one.
He's
That's
right.
one situation.
Boone will put in Diaz.
but that's let's get again a very. I think any All Star game is very much like what they did with Kershaw. Like, hey, let's
Yeah,
get him
yeah,
some
get him.
work.
Just show him. Put him in there. It's got to
Let's,
be there.
Get him in there,
let's get
man.
him out here and get him a standing ovation. Everybody gets war. But I know I think he's pulled the trigger in the right time. Um, and unlike some other teams, they've got to put they got a lot of work when it gets to the bullpen. It's a lot of you're facing the minimum, then you're getting pulled. We're doing this, lefty versus lefty matchup. Outside of going to the other Blake that I think they use way too
Yeah,
much, and he's
yeah.
not that good.
Right, right.
Um, he seems to get out of a lot of jams. Must be the man on high for him. Um, but no, man, I'm excited. I think. With that said, I will say this because we're about to do our predictions. We're about to end the show, but based off of who we think has all the tactical advantages, there was a lot of Dodger blue running through this entire thing. So I couldn't think of a category outside of execution, but maybe it's a clutch or a home field or something, because I do think that when we do the predictions, they may weigh out a little bit differently. So, with that said, Santos, you've already said. Quickly, tell us why you think it's the Blue Jays in
I
6.
think it's very important to note that where it's going to start, where the series is going to start. I think that's, believe it or not, I think that helps. It's going to help.
Yeah.
And so I just feel that the underbelly of the Dodgers bullpen is going to finally cost them. And to me, I also, it's not a big deal, but also I always like the team that was just recently playing as opposed to the team that finished a short series. I always favor a team that is coming off of playing more recently than the team that was sitting a little longer. That's another factor as well. Again,
I feel like both of them had like a full week off
that
though, so it just feels like they both have
a
rested a lot.
little, I guess, but listen, the Dodgers have the pedigree, and obviously they're expected to win. The Dodgers in franchise history have never won a back-to-back World Series, and when they've had a chance to
Yep.
do so, they haven't done it. So I think history will repeat itself.
April, you were on record saying Dodgers and how many?
Dodgers in six.
Dodgers in three.
Dodgers and
In
what?
Dodgers in
three.
six. But if we could do three, I wish.
All right. What we got?
Let me also say too,
Dodge-
in regards to
Yes.
the matchups that you did, I do think that the hitting is a little bit closer than
Mhm.
probably what, and that was why what I was toying with. I don't think that the Blue Jays are that far behind the Dodgers to the point where I almost said even for me. So I want to make sure I'm on record saying that as well. But yes, I have the Dodgers in 6. Go Blue.
Dodgers in 6. I like it. Malik, what do you got?
Yeah, I think the offense is very even, but I'm gonna say Blue Jays in 7. I want 7 games.
Whoa!
I want 7 games. They may win a game in Rogers the first couple of games of the series. The hitting is going to be close. I would say the Dodgers still have better hitting because of the impact that they have on the ball. They might strike out a little more, but they just put a little bit more juice on it. But I still want to give it to the Blue Jays because I feel like, I don't know, there's a little story building, and I think it's going to have to go 7 games for them to actually win against the Dodgers.
So a game 7 would be in Toronto.
Yes.
Game 7 would be in Toronto. And you are saying Blue Jays in 7. Flobo, where are you on this?
I was going to say Blue Jays in 7, but you know what? I'm gonna change my mind. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say Blue Jays in 5. I'm gonna be that guy.
What?
Blue Jays in 5. They've been to the World Series 3 times.
Oh.
The last 2 times to walk away with the ring back to back. Come on, Vlad, do it for your poppy. Let's go.
Do it
And
for you.
it plays out. So we've got Santos, Blue Jays in 6.
Let's go.
April, Dodgers in 6.
April's a gas.
Malik, Blue Jays in 7.
April's like, what?
I didn't see this. I didn't see this coming at all. I was coming on here trying to be crazy, and
We're
Lobo
going.
was like, "Oh my
And then
people."
Let's go.
Flobo, Blue Jays in 5. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna say Dodgers in 7.
nice.
They're gonna have
In
to fight
All
for
right.
it.
They're gonna break. They're gonna break the country of Canada in Game
Ouch.
7.
Oh man.
Last thing.
Because they not like us.
Last
Oh.
thing.
Lord, no, not this.
Oh yeah. Matter of
No.
fact, good work, April. Because now I will leave on a different question, but I will quickly go around. Who do you guys think will be World Series MVP? Flobo, World Series MVP.
Alejandro Kirk.
Kirk.
No. Vladdy
Dude,
Jr.
Vladdy. Malik.
I think Clement gonna sneak it.
Clement.
He gonna sneak it.
April.
I have. It depends. If it's a pitcher, Snell. If
Okay.
it's a overall player, I'm going Marcus Lindbetz.
There
Hey,
you go. Santos, World Series MVP.
I think since you mentioned pitcher or player, I think if it's a player, I'm going with Jorge Springer. And
hey.
yeah, and if it's a pitcher, it's going to be Shane Bieber.
Oh,
Bieber.
Okay.
he gonna give them
I'm
7
gonna
innings.
go
Let's go.
He's going to give him that work.
Dodgers in 7, and I am with April. I'm gonna go. Mookie Betts is the guy that gets the at bats with the runners on, and he comes through in the clutch. So I'm gonna go. World Series MVP will be Mookie Betts, because he's gonna get the pitches. There's a part of me because Snell gets to pitch twice. Does Yamamoto get to pitch twice?
Yes, he will pitch Game
He's
6.
good.
That's the thing. I'd also in my mind I'm like, I know Snell's good, but I also want to think Yamamoto might sneak. If it's a pitcher, it could be Yamamoto that sneaks in there.
Well, y'all know he was my Cy Young, so I would be okay with either one. So.
Can we get Kershaw a start?
No.
Him versus Scherzer right now.
I need to
Kershaw versus Scherzer. We need to
He
run
had
it.
his years.
Oh,
I don't
We
even
need
know
a Correa versus Scherzer. We love that.
Versus
I don't
Scherzer.
even
We
know
want
if he
old
gets
guys
any.
at him. Let him
Uh,
get it
Like
out.
the Park starters.
2012 is
Absolutely
going
not.
on.
Guys,
Game 7.
This has been really fun. I want to thank everybody. Thanks Santos. Santos, appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you.
Everybody knows already the Baseball Aficionado. Make sure you check it out. What are you doing? What are you guys doing for the World Series? How are you covering this thing?
I might be on TikTok Live. I haven't decided yet. So
Oh,
if you're
I
on
was-
TikTok,
Oh no, you're still on. I was asking Santos. I'm sorry. You're gonna be on, but
Huh?
Santos, how are you guys covering the World Series before I get out of here? Get you out of here.
I'm just gonna watch it
Just doing what
because
you do.
I'm just doing what I do. I'm just gonna watch it.
That's-
Might get some guac and chips or something like that. Couple cold ones, you know.
Oh,
There
simple
you
man. I
go.
love this.
I love
Yeah,
it.
this is nighttime Santos. That's why you guys watch see the daytime.
Well, look, we
Finish your
will.
breakfast.
We'll have
It's
you
not
back on.
pre-recorded.
We'll have you back on sooner than later in the as we go through the off season because the Reds have already embarrassed us all by saying Ellie De La Cruz is going to play shortstop again. So with that said, Santos is out. Appreciate you, my brother. All right, guys, we got to wrap this show up. Want to thank everybody for bearing with us. Fantastic episode. As my guy Flobo says on in the booth, how are you guys going to be watching the games? How are you going to? What is your routine / ritual starting tomorrow night for the World Series? How are you watching the games?
Well, here in Los Angeles, like every sport bar has the game on. So like I'm gonna go there at least game 1 to get kind of the energy up there. And if it becomes too much, just hang out at the home, do the whole Santos thing. You know what I'm saying?
Do they open Dodger Stadium for the game? How does that? Do they do that or no? I know
No, because Dodger Stadium is kind of on its own. It's like in Elysian Park on a hill on a mountain. So you can't like go to a bar next to there. You have to like pick a place in your neighborhood.
But they don't open the stadium to like have watch parties or anything.
No, the stadium now. It's a premium product, sir. You got to pay for that. But almost every bar from like the taquerias all the way down to like the sports BW Dubs have everything going on because it's a whole vibe out here.
All right, sounds good. April, how are you watching the games?
Okay, so I have been on threads commenting, documenting. I a couple of my friends have asked me to go out, but my behavior outside with my team, I don't know how that's really gonna work. So I'm probably gonna
What
be
you
at
mean behavior? You
I
like?
just say we watched
You gonna
we watched
do?
the LSU game with April. She's all right. She's fine. She doesn't
You
give
gonna
a
hit a
fuck.
beer on someone's
So let
head,
me
or
go
That's
ahead
what I'm
and tell
saying. Is
y'all.
it violent?
This is my first
Stone
time
Cold? You
around
gonna?
Global, and we were in a different city. I wasn't trying to embarrass
Yeah,
myself,
she was fine. She was fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
but no,
You
I
did
get
good.
a little rowdy during games. So
We gotta go to some more games then.
Yeah, exactly. That's
What do
did
you,
y'all
uncontrollable.
how
watch
do you
Emily?
watch the games?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
How are you going to take in the World Series?
Okay, so there's a couple ways this can go. It could be. I think I'm gonna probably find a place with some good chicken,
There
some
you
good
go.
beer,
Let's go.
on a little countertop that comes up this high, and just watch the game. Or I might do it in my home with my cats and just watch it. That's where I get some of the best baseball analysis when I'm sitting there locked
Agreed.
in, eating
Oh,
something good I made in the smoker outside and just watching it. Maybe actually invite some homies this time and we'll
yo, you
watch
gotta
it.
Oh,
think
there you
fast. It's only
go.
gonna be 5 games.
Yeah,
I'm like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure you plan it
Valid.
out right.
so I am. It's an interesting part of the season for me, especially tomorrow night, because obviously the baseball season's wrapping up. Huge baseball fan, um, obviously we all are, um, but I'm also a huge Knicks fan, and so I got to like record the Knicks game and then he's live because I do have an 11-year-old at the house that loves baseball as well. He may not make it through the entire game, depending on it's a weekend, so maybe he will, but it also depends on these games start at 8 o'clock. So he should make it through. There's some felt bad because there's sometimes this postseason that I'm running into a room where he's sleeping for school the next morning and saying, "Dude, you can't believe what happened." So that's kind of fun. And my wife is like, "What are you doing?" And I'm
I love
like,
to say, what's she gonna
gotta
say?
know. He's got to know what's
You wake her up.
happened.
Wake up, wake
Yeah,
up.
he can't not go to school tomorrow and not know what happened. Um, but no, it'll be fun. So it'll be tomorrow, especially. We'll be with my son. We'll be around the TV watching game one, and then I think it's Knicks Celtics in the Garden. We'll watch some of that as well. I will do better. I admit that I'm usually on uh X or Threads more so than I'm in the Discord room, but I will be better this World Series to be in the Discord room as well. So if you want to join for absolute free the BBM Discord, please do so. Send me a note. We'll get you signed up, and we'll be in there making some World Series commentary as well. Uh, with that said, we're about to get out of here. We want to appreciate everyone as always. Make sure you jump in the comments. I will also say, you alluded to it. We are going to get hella, hella Kendrick Lamar Drake memes. We're gonna get AI battles.
No,
We're probably gonna have AI video clips of Kendrick and Drake hitting home runs.
no.
But I
Ah,
say all of that to say Drake has alluded to dropping music during the World Series, possibly around, I don't know what round it would be with Kendrick, but he's alluded to doing this already in his
He's
Drake,
cursing them.
yeah, Drake
He's cursing them.
subliminal type ways. And there is video clips out there on the internet of Drake heavily celebrating Toronto going to the World Series.
keep
So,
going, Drake.
so with that said, last year, one of our favorite moments of the whole World Series is that we got pregame performances from Ice Cube
Yeah.
Yeah, yay.
and Fat Joe. We got
Yeah.
Fat Joe in New York, in the Bronx. We got Ice Cube in LA. Today was a good day of performance. Do we get any type of Kendrick Lamar LA World Series sighting? And do we get a Drake sighting or performance in the Rogers Center prior to these games? Do we see Drake and Kendrick at the World Series?
I think we see him for the parade. I think we see Kendrick Lamar performing at the parade or at the ceremony. That's what I think.
I don't know because the Dodgers went to the White House between last year and this one, so
True.
you might get Morgan Wallen, you might get Jason Aldean.
I don't care about the other performances. The question was, I'm really interested in the Drake Kendrick thing. Do we get Malik? Do we get any Drake or Kendrick sightings?
So to represent LA, we're not going to get Kendrick. Full stop. And in
No.
Toronto,
Kendrick, by the way, goes to Dodger games and sits in the stands like a regular person.
Yeah, I know.
okay, we
has
might
done that
get
as
a
recently as 2 years
cameo. Maybe we might get a cameo in the crowd, but in Toronto, we're certainly not going to get another Canada representative in Tory Lanez, so it might be Drake.
Oh wow! What's
he might
Cardinal
be there.
official? What's Cardinal? Is he
Yes.
around?
So,
Yes.
I guess we may get Drake because Drake shows up to games. He shows
I
up.
hope Drake
He's
shows
a fan.
up.
He's a fan. He's a
little-
fan. He's a fan. He's gonna show up to the
Malik,
game.
I'm with you, and what I mean by that is I put Drake in Toronto at the World Series.
Yeah, he'll be there.
I want to say I put it at 90%.
Yeah, he has to
may
be
not-
there.
He may
He's
not
on-
perform,
yeah.
but he's going to be in a box. He's going to be somewhere
Mhm.
in the
Mhm.
Rogers Center for one of those World Series games, at least, maybe more. I'm
Yes,
putting that at 90%.
Yeah.
I'm putting Kendrick just because he's Kendrick. I'm putting Kendrick at 45%, which might be
Yeah.
higher than most.
I like 48.
But I'm putting him at 45% that you see him sometime during the World Series. So I don't know if you'll get music. I hope for the sake of the world, we don't get any more tracks
No more.
between the two of them back and forth. Nobody needs to see that. But I think we'll get 45% on Kendrick, 90% that you see Drake.
Lordy,
No complaints.
Lordy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have to wrap it there. An absolute fantastic World Series preview. I want to thank you all. Make sure you follow In the Booth, hosted by Flobo Boyce. Make sure you follow 10th Inning Talk, hosted by All About April. As always, make sure you subscribe to the Black Baseball Mixtape. And we are out of here. Until next time.